Christine, previously only the third wife, is now simply Christine. Bold, glowing, newly wedded to a man who really sees her and selects her every day. When fans saw her laugh and smile without that old tension hidden behind her grin, they felt it too. Relief, happiness, fairness. After years of being ignored, Christine didn't just take her leave. She rebuilt from the ground up. Her cooking show, her social media, her romance, none of it was a facade. It was authentic. It was hers, and it was all she had always deserved. Next came Janelle, reserved, practical, unwaveringly strong. She did not explode, she did not raise a ruckus. She just ceased to contribute to her own oppression. And in that silence, she found her power. Janelle devoted her time to real estate, coaching, online coaching, and forging unbreakable bonds with her children. Her journey wasn't fueled by revenge. It was about taking back what was hers: time, identity, self. And Mary. Oh, Mary. She spent years in this weird limbo. Not in, not out. Not really either one. Her emotional scars went deep. But piece by piece, she took back her voice. She started speaking at retreats, speaking her truth. Not as broken, but as someone who had made it through, who had grown. And when she turned the camera on and said, "I don't need permission to be happy anymore," something changed, not only for her, but for all the viewers watching along. And the children? They're not just getting by, they're thriving. Gwendolyn, Logan, Maddie, Savannah, they've become one another's rock. They remember shared moments, stand up for one another in public and privately. They're changing what it means to be real family, even after the breakdown of the old model. Kody's hierarchy is gone. What's left? Love, truth, togetherness. This isn't the same Brown family we first met on TV. That era is over. And honestly, good riddance. Because what's been left is something profound, something more real. A group of women and children who took truth over seeming, peace over domination, who made strength out of suffering. They didn't merely leave. They walked into something better. And that is the legacy now. Not polygamy. Not Kody's so-called one-house dream. The legacy is the women's, the children's, the truth's. And for the first time in so long, it's actually stunning. The silence? It spoke more than any big exit ever could. It screamed to the world, "We're done pretending." With Kody and Robin pushed to the sidelines, the show, if it was to continue, had to evolve without them. And then, just as it felt like the Brown family story had wrapped for good, TLC made a bold decision. The show returned, but it wasn't Sister Wives anymore. It was Freedom. And the title said it all. This had nothing to do with polygamy or Kody's control of the story or mandated family harmony. It had to do with healing. It had to do with what comes after the hurt and who's brave enough to learn from it. Christine and Janelle returned, but this time on their own terms. No more secret deal-making, no more setting up scenes for harmony. Gwen was back, as was Logan, Madison, even Mykelti. These were no longer children caught in the crossfire of a family war. These were grown-ups reporting their own truth, claiming their own story. And from the beginning, the distinction was clear. This new edition wasn't about tense meals or walking on eggshells. It was raw. It was honest. We saw Janelle walk into Garrison's vacant house, her hand shaking over old family photographs. We watched Christine laugh once more, make plans for her wedding, hold her grandbaby without fear of judgment. Gwen finally opened up about the trauma, about having been silenced for so long. And Logan, who always fought to keep the family intact, finally did what he had to. This isn't hate. its safety. No scripted apologies, no Kody confessional moments. Robin's name wasn't even mentioned. And audiences? They showed up in force. Ratings soared. Viewers didn't just tune in, they felt represented. Because this wasn't just a break from polygamy, it was survival after emotional control. For once, the tale was being narrated by the people who lived it, not the man who attempted to write it. In the background of this new start, Kody and Robin were left where they had put everyone else for years, on the outside looking in. This time, no magic of the camera, no fictional salvation, no defenders remaining. The public had witnessed too much, heard too much, felt too much. There was no going back to the old tale. Kody's image had dissolved. Favoritism, manipulation, and isolation for so many years had finally come home to roost. Fans recalled every second of it. His tantrums, his vanishing acts, the holidays he missed, the tears he dismissed as insignificant. And now, even his own children had had enough. Blocked calls, unanswered messages. His sons did not want to lay eyes on him. His daughters no longer believed him. When he attempted to contact them, all he received was quiet, total, and intentional. Robin attempted to do the ending over again. She did one last begrudging interview, struggling to keep her anger in check behind a manufactured cry as she portrayed Christine, Janelle, and even Mary as jealous and bitter. But it totally failed. Fans weren't having it. Hashtags such as #VictimRobin began trending. People were finished with the farce. They'd witnessed the manipulation beneath the martyr act, how Robin silently profited as everything else in her life collapsed. And now, no one was playing her game anymore. What made it even stronger was Gwen. She didn't scream, she didn't lash out. She simply shared one quiet sentence. Healing starts when honesty begins. This was all. Calm. Direct, absolutely devastating. And Mary, the one who'd stood by Kody so steadfastly it hurt to see her, even she stepped forward. No theatrics, just truth. Sometimes you cling so long, you forget that you deserve peace. That single statement resonated deeply. It was the last page turn, the ending of a chapter that had been in the making for years. Kody fell apart. His whole world came crashing down in silence. No show anymore. No big family dinners. No control anymore. The only person remaining at his side was the very one he had put above all others, Robin. But what they had created, that kingdom of favoritism and deception, was hollow. Because when you spend years silencing people, at some point, no one remains to listen to you either. And now we're here, witnessing one of the most unexpected, raw, and empowering transformations unfold. Not in the dark corners of suffering, but in the bright, unflinching light of truth, self-worth, and finally, freedom. It was a silence that didn't so much fall, it settled. Heavy, unmovable. You could sense it in your chest. Inside the chapel, there were rows of broken faces seated stiffly, red-rimmed eyes, clenched jaws, preserving pain that no words could touch. This was Garrison's funeral, a place where grief, remorse, and so many unspoken words all crashed into one. There was no play here, no lens to dull this sort of destruction. And then they entered. Kody and Robin entered. Not humbly, not like bereaved parents buckled by the burden of loss, but with the same restlessness they always displayed, glossy, focused, and utterly disconnected from the sorrow in the room. Robin's eyes swept the pews, Kody's posture rigid, deliberate. This wasn't mourning, this was an act, and others noticed it. You could sense it in the changing looks, the slight shakes of heads. This wasn't uncomfortable. This was the judgment. Because what was laid to rest that day wasn't only a beloved son and brother, it was the final thread tying together a family system built on power, performance, and emotional control. A system that had already crumbled behind the scenes. The funeral didn't just expose old scars, it tore them wide open. Hi friends, I'm Mara. Welcome back to Reality Recap. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so and leave your thoughts in the comments below, because this story, this one, hits close to home. This moment, this is when everything changed. When the mask broke at last and truth revealed itself bare, no distractions, no cutting, just brutal reality. And what came next was nothing short of a family revolution. Garrison's death broke the family in a manner in which no fight or disagreement ever had. It was not another chapter in emotions. It was an ache that cut directly into the heart of each sibling, each mother, each individual who had actually been there for him. Within the church, there was an unsettling silence. Too silent. No cameras, no producers, only the kind of sorrow you can't stage. You could sense it. In Janelle's quiet, in the way Gabriel couldn't raise his eyes to meet hers, in Gwen hiding her face just to make it through the moment. And then the doors swung open once more. Kody and Robin stepped in hand, as if they were walking to the red carpet premiere. Head to toe, black, sparkling boots, a designer bag slung over Robin's shoulder, no hesitation at the coffin, no acknowledgement to Janelle. Just the icy, reverberating sound of stiletto heels clicking down the aisle. They marched directly down the aisle, to the very front. And then, uninvited, Kody headed to the pulpit. He wasn't even supposed to say anything. What happened? A total disaster. Kody's speech didn't come close to honoring Garrison's life. It wasn't about memories, love, or loss. It was about himself, his hurt, his bruised image, his resentment at being excluded. "We mourn not just our children," he said, "but our influence, our legacy." You could sense the change in the room immediately. The silence, once respectful, grew heavy, piercing. Not grief, not sympathy. It was shock, and then rage. And that's when Janelle stood up, calmed, stable, ice cold. "You don't get to do this," she said. Her voice never broke. She never raised it. But every word sliced through the air like a knife. She confronted him right out in public, for walking away from Garrison, for altering the story, for making this holy moment all about him. Christine waited next, then Logan. Even Mary, Kody's staunchest defender, said nothing in his behalf. No one got up to intervene, because in that instant, the truth had at last been spoken, and not a single person in that room was willing to stand behind the lie anymore. What happened after the funeral wasn't just emotional, it was monumental. The moment Janelle spoke those words, something fundamental snapped. There would be no return. The family didn't just grieve, they separated. Christine and Janelle didn't post statements. There were no headlines, no explosive confrontation, just silence. The kind that says louder than words, "You're not part of this anymore." One by one, the adult children ceased to respond. Kody's number? Blocked. No birthday greetings, no obligatory holiday greetings, nothing. Then came the storm on the internet. A 2-minute video leaked from the funeral. Kody's awkward, self-centered monologue, Robin's melodramatic sobs in the background, Janelle standing firm, unflinching, telling truth with each word. It blew up. Fans who had been simmering for years boiled over. This wasn't frustration. This was the last straw. Old episodes were dug up, analyzed. Reddit forums erupted with breakdowns. TikTok overflowed with clips. Kody's worst moments played out frame by frame. Behind the scenes, TLC entered crisis mode. Executives ran around in circles. Internal emails circulated. Could the show proceed without Kody? Should he remain at all? Because this time the indignation wasn't due to reality TV editing or poor plot lines. This was about something more: accountability. And in the midst of all the hubbub, the family stayed quiet. No tweets, no tell-all interviews, just a quiet dinner at Christine's home. No cameras, no production staff, no performance, just family, the ones who remained, discreetly gathering the pieces. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Reality Recap for more news, exclusive inside information, and all the behind-the-scenes scoop you won't get from any other source. See you soon.